This podcast was recorded on Gadigal land. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay our respects to elders both past and present. Always was, always will be.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
And welcome back to episode
7?
8? I don't know.
You're in charge.
I'm pretty sure it's episode 8.
Okay.
Anyway, either way.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yes. And our lovers out there, I'm probably noticing
Yeah.
slightly different location.
Something's different.
Something's a bit different.
We're coming at you with some handheld microphones in Bali.
Bali.
Yeah.
We're at beautiful Bamboo Indah, just outside Ubud in Bali, which is where I run couples retreats. And I'm going to be running one this coming week. So here we are, just getting in the mood, relaxing.
And
preparing.
podcasting.
And podcasting.
Woo!
Yay.
First international podcast.
Our first. Oh my God. Makes it sound so very special.
Yeah.
And it is very special. I wish you could see the view that we can see out here. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Bamboo Indah is quite divine.
Insane.
Lovely, lush. Beautiful boyfriend is here too.
Your beautiful boyfriend, as yet unnamed beautiful boyfriend. Yes.
Perks of dating me.
You know, he first met me at another couples retreat. The first time he actually met me was when he was going to a couples retreat in Australia with Claudia.
Yeah, pretty brave.
Very brave.
Anyway, episode 8/7/8.
Yes.
What's the topic today, Gosh?
So the topic, we're going to move a little bit away from the sexual and move more to the relational today.
Important.
Yes. Although, as always, I'll be talking about incorporating the sexual into the relational because I don't believe they should be separated.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And I'm going to give you a pretty cool metaphor for a relationship that it has 3 legs, like a tripod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves,
Yes.
how's your week been?
Oh, very good. I've had a very good week.
Anything particularly erotic this week?
Well, yeah. Okay. So remember last week when I got all sort of a bit like embarrassed and, oh my God, should I share such personal stuff about myself? And you're like, yeah, go. And so I was sharing about the spanky wanky hanky panky.
Well, we've added more words onto
Alliteration.
that. Yeah.
Is it alliteration? Hanky panky, spanky wanky hanky panky. Yes.
And then at the end it's thank you for the spanky wanky hanky panky.
Yeah. On both sides. Well, yeah, so after that I was thinking, okay, really got to get with the 21st century and, bear more. And you'll like this,
Okay.
I even had a tarot reading done on the topic.
Oh, what? You didn't tell me this.
Yeah, I know, it's news, but it was Madame Zuzuba.
Oh, right. Right.
So my dear friend Xavier, who some of you may well have come across if you've listened to my earlier podcast called The Tantric Lounge, which I did with Xavier many years ago. In fact, it's not a podcast. It was pre-podcast days. We did it in 2013
A radio
and 14.
show.
It was an internet radio show. Xavier has developed this thing. Well, first of all, he channels Madame Zuzuba and he does tarot readings using Cards Against Humanity.
It's very serious.
It's very good.
It's very serious and real, but it's actually kind of on the nose. Madame Zuzuba kind of does a good job,
Yes.
even though it's ridiculous
Yes.
and satirical.
But it's not really that anymore. I think actually it's really real.
With Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He's just felt an affiliation
it's
to these decks.
amazing how accurate these are. So anyway, he's going to start his own podcast with Madam Z, XE with Madam Z. Anyway, so we had this reading and it became very, very clear that I definitely needed to share more of myself to overcome so many of the limitations around sexuality, like to actually be a role model and share more of myself. Yeah. So what I'm going to share for my most erotic moment was this, and this sort of follows on from the last couple of weeks when we've been talking about orgasms.
Okay.
A really brilliant orgasm.
All right.
And it was kind of like this particular orgasm encompassed pretty much all of the different types of orgasms that we were talking about before.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it was a really big one. Yeah. So there was no direct clitoral stimulation, although there had been some beforehand.
But
having a lot of fun there. So very good state of arousal, and it was just like waves of pleasure, and then just kind of surfing the crescendo of the final wave. There was the release of the ambrosia. No, I don't like that squirting word. Ugh. There was the release of the ambrosia. There was just this heightened state of bliss. There was the whole body orgasm over and over, and the shakes and the shudders kept going for like minutes afterwards.
Wow, minutes.
Yeah, you'd sort of think, oh, I'm down, and then I'm like, whoa, and there goes.
Nice.
It was just wonderful, and my whole vagina was just like a light. It was like there was almost like light, like this energy that was sort of streaming up and down the back side of my vagina.
Okay.
From the opening in and then all through my body.
Were you visualizing that? Or?
No, but I think it's probably helpful when you're first starting to visualize it.
Yeah.
But because I've sort of been doing this a long time, yeah.
Awesome.
Let myself go.
Love that for you.
Thank you, darling.
Did the giver also love that for you?
Oh God, yeah. Giver was having a lovely. Well, I wouldn't say giver. Didn't give me. It was a co-creation.
Yeah. What would you? Because there's.
Yeah, see, this is not giving and taking so much. Well, in fact, I was on top. So if anything, I was giving. It's not giving.
What is the language that you would use?
I was in the more active role.
Okay.
He was there, lying on his back. There's a little bit of cooperation going, but I was making sure not too much.
Nice.
Yes, because
good thing about going on top, lots of control.
Well, yeah. This particular partner has a tendency to go for it a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of training going on there. I always say, got to train your men. Yes, ladies, you do. Otherwise, they don't know what to do.
Every vagina is different.
Yes, and every person attached to that vagina is different.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yes, much pleasure had by all.
Excellent. Very erotically erotic.
It was. There you go. Well, go me. Sharing.
Yeah, nice.
Sharing. Woo. And kind of sharing, hopefully. Hopefully I'm sharing good, useful stuff here. Because I really am a little bit embarrassed about sharing this about myself. So.
Embarrassed?
Yeah. We're telling the entire world. I'm talking the entire world about this amazing orgasm I had. I mean, I usually have pretty amazing orgasms. But this one was just after we've recorded the last one. So, thinking about orgasms and the categories was in my mind. And I remember I just thought, I think I'll share that one. And then I was like, Anyway, then Madam Z said, yeah, go for it. So here we are in Bali talking about my orgasms.
Nice. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Doing a good job. Really letting go.
Yes. Well, I mean, if I can do it in the bedroom, I should be able to do it in the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, my darling? What's your erotic share of the week?
Mine's a little more chill vibes than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little dog, my little man. And I hate leaving him. Small, codependent little man.
Yeah.
And so 3 days before we left, I was just really actively trying to connect with him and have cute bonding moments.
Oh, you should see the two of them together. It's very cute.
And so there's every morning I'd wake up and then I'd be like, time for a cuddle.
Yes.
Just thinking and just patting him. Just I'm going to miss you so much. I'm just soaking it all in. So yeah, it's embodied, connecting.
Yeah, it's beautiful. A lovely example of how this connecting, this intimacy and sensuality doesn't have to be with your one and only human partner.
Yes.
It can be with many significant relationships and with animals, even plants. Well, as you know, my darling, plants are my pets. I love my plants. We have moments, just like you have moments with Lemmy, the dog. And if you really want to understand about just letting go into pleasure, watch your pets. Because they just know. As do the plants. They just turn to the sunlight.
Isn't that one part of tantric belief is that you feel the life force running through every single living thing that there is?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I love to run retreats at this particular place. Well, also the place in Australia as well. But here, we're in the jungle. The life force is just so palpable.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yes.
So, relationships.
Relationship.
How to have a good one.
Yes.
How to build a good one.
Indeed.
Foundational stuff here
Yes.
today, ladies and gentlemen, and the gentlemen's.
Yes. So imagine your relationship is like a tripod.
Yep, 3 legs.
3 legs, right? And you want all 3 legs to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you have a pretty wobbly tripod. Let me go through them.
Mm-hmm.
The first leg is the logistical leg. And this is that you are teammates in the game of life.
Yeah.
Right? You get shit done. You know, you can pay the mortgage or the rent. You can raise a family. You can get the garbage out on time.
Organize your weeks.
Yes, you can get all of that done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that well, you do feel like teammates. Like we're in this together.
Partnership.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, the qualities that come with that are that you feel appreciated and acknowledged, respected.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sense of equality, even if the roles are quite different. So those are all very foundational kind of qualities and feelings that need to be running through your relationship for it to be solid, right? Yeah. And the thing about logistics, though, is at the start of a relationship, there are virtually none.
Yes.
And then certainly if you're getting into a serious partnership where you're living together and you're having children and stuff, the logistics become huge, right? So one reason why you need to make sure you're doing it well, right? Because if you're not doing logistics well, like
chaos.
It's chaos. Yeah, life is not good.
And I feel like it's how you also build resentment.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yep. You know, you think I'm doing more, you're not doing enough, you don't understand.
Yeah.
All that sort of thing, right?
Or you don't care about this
Yeah.
like I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I say you feel appreciated and acknowledged. Like you actually speak it. You don't say, well, of course, you know, I think you're a great provider. Yeah, of course, you know, I like your cooking. No, you say it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And you say it together like, hey, babe, high five us. We, you know, finally got the kids down. Woohoo, survived another day. You know, like, or whatever it is. Or look at us. Look at our savings growing. Isn't this wonderful?
Yeah.
Or what are we going to do about the fact that, you know, your mother's getting a bit doddery? You know, like how, you know, you're in it together, right?
Yes.
So that's a really important thing.
Easiest way for me and my partner, weekly meetings.
Yes.
Bang it out.
Yeah. Yep. So you can certainly cover some of those logistical stuff. Although, let's be honest here, you're of the younger generation, so you have not yet encountered what it's like to be having a family or, you know, managing like big budgets and stuff like that. So, and one thing I want to say, what you do is part of that. But the logistical aspect of the relationship, it's about the business of life.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like a business partnership.
A little bit, yeah. So you want to sort of be clear about what you're talking about. You know, what are your objectives here? What are we trying to resolve? What are we, It's very different to the other 2 legs.
Mm-hmm. Does the tripod hold up your relationship?
No, this is just a metaphor for a relationship.
Right. Your relationship is like a tripod.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, ready for the second one?
Yep.
Our lovers ready? Our lovers are ready for the second one. The second leg is the leg of friendship.
Beautiful. The power of friendship.
Yeah, and this is the one where you genuinely like each other.
Yes, quite important.
It's quite important. And I have to say, I've met a lot of couples who say they love each other, but they don't really seem to like each other very much.
Awkward.
Yeah. I'm like,
how do you do that?
Could you just be nice to each other?
Weird thought.
Oh, I know.
Bold.
I know. I remember really early on in doing this work, I had a couple and they were just so narky with each other. And I was very new, you know, I hadn't seen many clients at the time. I'm like, could you two just be nice to each other? Like, how the hell do you think you're going to like have sex if you're not being nice? I thought, oh, yeah. Anyway.
Mind blowing.
But it literally did blow their minds, right? And they came back a little bit later going, God, that was good advice. We're being nice to each other. I'm like,
yeah. But
anyway.
outside of like being nice to each other, it's also creating niceness for each other.
Yes. And yeah. Because you're so wise.
I know. And where do I get it from? I don't know.
So back to the friendship one. This one is so important. And this is where you actually enjoy each other's company,
Mm-hmm.
right? You like each other. You like hanging out together. You make sure you take time to hang out together.
Yep. Creating space.
Yes. You are interested in each other.
Mm-hmm.
And very importantly, you are interesting to each other,
Yes.
right? Like, as a client was saying just the other day, it's like, oh God, no wonder this is bad. Like, I've become boring to myself. Like, if I'm boring to myself, how the hell is my partner going to be interested in me? And we're just both just being really boring. And it's like flat, like there's kind of flatlining.
Yeah.
So there's no.
Sounds like he got used to it. They just got comfortable and habitually lackluster.
But sort of annoyed about it at the same time.
Yeah.
And when I said that comment about you need to be interested in each other and interesting to each other, that's when there was the light bulb. Like, God, not even interesting to myself.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. One of the best things that one of my friends ever said to me, I don't remember the context, but she was like, one of the good things about doing things separately is that you can come back together and share it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So it's both individual and collective friendship building type of situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my idea of being in a relationship is not like being, together 24/7. No, there's going apart, doing some cool stuff, coming back, sharing it, being excited or interested in it. Even if you're just like, I don't know, listening to the news or a conversation on the radio as you're, driving home from work, there might be something interesting in that you can share with your partner.
Yeah.
Or, something that happened at work or.
And it's also, it's so nice to be thought of like that. Just like, oh, I've heard this. My partner would love to hear this. Let me bring it to them as a little gift of interestingness.
Yeah, absolutely. So part of it is about creating the time and the other part is actually bringing the content.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it should be, it's like work, but it shouldn't be like.
No, it should just be like, what's interesting is at the beginning of a relationship, it's usually all this.
Yeah. It's easy. It comes easily.
Yeah. Like you're spending hours together and you have days of anticipation looking forward to meeting each other and then hours and hours together, fascinated by each other, doing cool things, But then again, over time, particularly with the logistics growing, people drop the friendship thing.
Yeah.
Like I have so many clients. I'm like, hey, just have a nice conversation every day, 10 minutes. And the number that can't do that. And I'm like, if you cannot find 10 minutes a day to chat to your beloved, oh, but we're so busy. And we're like, what are you busy with? Oh, we're doing this for the kids. We're doing that for the kids. We're doing this for the kids. And I've got to go to the gym. And then I've got all of this, and I'm working 14 hours a day. And I'm like, I've got to clean the house. I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. But don't expect your relationship to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a functional relationship. Your logistics, that's it.
Yeah.
Your teammates in life. And they'll go, yeah, we feel like teammates at best.
Wobbly tripod.
Okay. Got a single leg tripod.
Oh.
But they're like, oh, but we can't change it. I'm like, okay, fine. If you can't change it, then you have to accept that this is what your life is like right now.
And your relationship's a bit wobbly.
Yeah. But then again, more likely people will go, oh, okay. I keep saying you've got to examine your lifestyle. You've got to examine what's going on.
Yes.
And craft it to suit you.
Yes. Relationships don't just happen.
No.
They do require work.
Well, focus.
Focus, yeah. I shouldn't say work.
Focus and some time and
attention
and attention and intention. Yeah. Like anything else good in life. Doesn't just happen.
And the friendship is where a lot of the like fun and the positivity and the good times come from.
Yes. A lot of the connection comes from that.
Yeah. So that's like number 2.
That's
got
number 2.
Yes. Logistics and friendship.
Teammates and friendship.
Teammates and friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to be teammates. We want to be friends. And we want to be lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So what does it mean to be a lover? And I've certainly touched on this in other podcasts. It's a recurring theme. When I say that you are lovers, I don't mean that you just have sex sometimes because you can have sex without any of the lover energy. It can be obligation, duty, you're bored.
Trying to create a child.
Stress, just trying to create a child. Also, not for couples so much. Someone you've just picked up when you're drunk in a pub, a nightclub. You just fuck them. It can be fun. But that's not what I'm talking about here.
Yes.
Right? What I'm talking about here is that there is an energy that's flowing between you, that it goes beyond just being friends. And so if we think that we can feel the energy of love. Yeah?
Real. Confirmed.
We actually know that there's a little brain around the heart called a neural plexus that deals with matters of the heart. It deals with relational issues.
In the same place as the heart chakra.
Yes. And we also know that all of our organs give off electromagnetic fields and the heart gives off the largest one of all. That makes sense to me to think that that's definitely an energy, right?
Absolutely.
And we feel it. We feel it when we love another. We feel it when we are loved.
Yes.
So that's love. Beautiful thing that it is, right? But we can feel that in many ways for many different things, like your dog, my plants, right? It's not sexual. So where does the sex fit in? So as I've said earlier, and I will say over and over and over again, you will hear this many times on these podcasts, libido is life force energy. Our life force, our sexual energy, second chakra, Dan Qian, Hara, depending which language you're speaking. Let's speak English here. Down in the pelvis is where the sexual energy is generated, right? And the life force flows up the body.
Yeah. If you're not into like energy talk, how would you describe this to someone?
It's kind of like an embodied sense.
Yeah.
It's an embodied sense. It's about reuniting the sexual and the love, right? Because too often we're sort of up in our heads and there's just a body down there. And maybe we can feel a bit of something in our chest, but the sexual stuff is just physiological processes that happen.
Yeah.
And there's not necessarily a strong connection. So in a way, psychologically or psychodynamically, what we're trying to do is connect the whole of the body.
Yeah.
And become more embodied.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to think of it that when you're in touch with life and vitality and you're feeling it, you can feel it. It's kind of like there's this loveliness that's going up your body.
Yes.
Okay? So that beautiful sexual life force energy comes up your body and it's like it potentizes the love.
Stunning.
It is. It's like it shifts it from I love you to I love you.
Yeah, that subtle intonation change.
It's subtle, but in that subtlety is everything.
Absolutely.
In committed long-term relationships, that is the feeling that you want to cultivate.
Yes.
Right? And that happens in lots and lots of small ways.
Yeah.
Throughout the day. It can be in a glance, in a smile,
so beautiful.
in a comment, in a kiss, like even just a peck. There's a huge difference between just a bye and a bye. I mean, it's almost the same amount of time. Okay, it's a few extra nanoseconds, and I know you're busy people, but it's worth it.
And if you want a strong relationship, you're going to actually have to do things to make it strong.
Yeah. So it's really about sort of seeing your beloved, as your lover.
Yeah.
And
not taking them for granted or just like taking their physicality. It's seeing them as the wholeness of themselves.
Yes. Yes. And this generally requires that, you keep the friendship thing going. If you lose the friendship thing, if all you ever do is, talk about the finances and what the kids are up to.
What we're having for dinner.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to bring that lover energy in.
Yeah.
But when you're remembering who your partner is and you're engaging with them, then it's easier to I like you. This is nice.
Yeah.
So ideally what you're wanting to be doing is making sure that you're setting aside time to enjoy each other, kind of as friends, and really filling your life as much as possible with these little loving, sometimes just an act of kindness, other times it's, sitting down having good conversation or a nice kiss or just a little glance or putting a love heart at the end of your message.
Yeah.
There's just lots of little, and it keeps you focused on you and me and us. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And it definitely keeps the tingles happening.
So it's very individual how your person feels that love.
Yeah.
And how you need to give that to them.
Yeah. So this is a topic for these kind of conversations that you're saying that you have regularly with your beloved.
Yes.
Right? Checking in. How are we going? What can we do better? What are we struggling with?
One of my favorite questions is, what have I been doing this week that you like? And what have I been doing this week that you don't like?
Ah, nice one.
It's quite open-ended as well. So it's kind of gives you a space to like express what is on your mind, you know, without it being too direct. And it usually like gets into more specific things after a little bit of conversing.
Yeah.
That's what works for me.
Yeah, but it's lovely because you're setting the time aside, you're setting the intention,
Yes.
you're coming in with a question. I'm sure you're thinking about in advance what you're going to bring to the conversation.
Yeah. It's kind of all of the legs in one, really, because it's like the logistics of our friendship to create love.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Which is awesome.
Yes. So there was one more thing I just wanted to add on that, if I may, because often when I talk to clients about this, they're often like, oh, God, you know, that we haven't flirted for years or we don't kind of do that sort of, that just kind of feels awkward. And I always say, well, yes, it will feel awkward, right? But do it anyway. Have a laugh about it as you're doing it.
Yeah, laughing is the most connecting thing ever.
And I'm not saying that, you know, you're sort of like these, you know, love gods and goddesses or Casanovas or, you know, like porn stars or I don't know. Like it's just whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the better you get at it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah.
You know, I've had clients who don't have terms of endearment for each other. Like they don't say love or darling or babe or sweetheart or honeypot or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, oh, that just feels really weird. Like just practice. Come on, let's come up with a name. Let's come up with something. Like, okay, homework. Practice saying that.
Yeah.
And have a good giggle every time you do it. It's fine.
That's that friendship giggly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lovely.
Yeah.
And I think something that comes from having a strong friendship leg is the trust in order to be able to do all of these things.
Yeah.
Because you can build trust from logistics, but it's not the same as like deep emotional trust.
Yeah. It's not like I know you.
Yeah.
And you know me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that you know me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what you get from that friendship. Yeah, that's part of what the friendship thing is for sure. Yeah.
So I guess any advice for people who are struggling with any of these legs?
Well, acknowledge that they're important.
Yeah.
You know, even just sit down together and go, okay, how are our 3 legs?
Yeah.
Yeah. How would we rate them out of 10? You know, how can we make them stronger? What's missing? What are we doing well? Right. And be really honest about what you feel awkward about, right? Because very often people stop doing lovely things or romantic things or flirty things because it just feels awkward.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe you haven't been doing it for a while. You know, kids came along and you blah, blah, blah. It's so common. But when you actually say this feels awkward and the other person's probably going, yeah, me too. You go, well, let's just try it and, you know, let's support each other.
Yeah, avoiding things just builds up pressure and then you're way less likely to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that makes the relationship, you know, vulnerable to outside influences because we all love being loved and admired and desired and stuff. So if you're not feeling it within the relationship, someone else comes along, it's tempting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should, of course
also,
not.
If you're not talking to each other about it,
you're
going to talk to someone else about it.
Yes.
And therefore, they will have more influence over your logistic leg or your friendship leg or your love leg than your actual person, which, essentially just need to be talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the easiest way to connect, talk.
Yeah. You know what? I had interesting new clients just started with me and he was sent by a former client of mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for that referral.
Yes. Actually, the former client has sent a few, so that's wonderful.
Gosh.
Very grateful.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, obviously very pleased. But anyway, so this man came to me and he said it's quite funny because he and his, now former partner recently separated, but they both went to the original client, who's a friend of theirs. And she said to him, you're both complaining about exactly the same things.
Yeah.
Like, you really need to go and sort this out.
Yeah.
And anyway, for him, by then it was too late. He's just like, no, I'm over it. So he's come to me to learn more about how to do better in relationships.
Mm-hmm. Good for him.
And it is a shame that they didn't come earlier because they could have both learned earlier. But yeah, they didn't talk.
They avoided it for way too long.
And they did exactly what you said. They were both confiding in this other friend, my former client. And she's not an expert, right? So she's going to go talk to Jacqueline.
Yeah.
But this is crazy because you're both complaining about the same thing.
It's kind of interesting that I'm assuming they they lost the friendship leg, and so they sorted out from a different friend. You know what I mean? I find that interesting.
Yeah. Well, the resentments were building. They didn't trust each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they went to someone else that they trusted, you know? Find that kind of interesting psychology moment.
I mean, it is okay to talk to a trusted friend. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But you also need to talk to your friend,
to
like
your
partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely you do.
So, to summarize,
yes,
your relationship is like a tripod, metaphorically. There are 3 legs to that relationship: logistics, friendship, and lovers. All of equal kind of value, because you got to keep that tripod sturdy, secure.
Yes.
Awesome.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's a good metaphor, Gelly. Good job creating that one.
Thank you. Well, I think I got inspired by someone years ago, but I can't remember who it was, so I can't thank them for it. But I have modified it a bit since then. Yeah. But I think it is so important. And metaphors like these, you know, concepts, they help you talk to your partner, or they help you sort things out in your own mind.
Yeah. Well, you need the language to be able to figure stuff out.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's overlaps between them, of course.
So yeah, talk to your people. Check in. How's it going? What would you like it to be like? What is it like now? How can we make it aligned with the goals?
Yes, and let's make it a joint project.
Yeah.
Project Strong Tripod.
We did a tripod pod.
A tripod pod. Woohoo, go us. I love that. Tripod pod.
That's funny. And it's also, we're on a trip. So it's a trip pod tripod.
Trip pod tripod.
I could keep going for ages,
incredible.
guys. I know, it's so much going on up here just all the time, just whirring around. Alrighty. Segment 2 complete. Section 3.
Yeah.
Questions.
Yes.
Question time.
Yes.
Q&A. So if you're new to the pod, every week, a bit inconsistently, but sort of every week, I'll post on the weekend questions on my mum's sex therapist Instagram page. If you miss that question box, you can also just send us your dilemmas. Either way, want your questions on the pod? Instagram. But the first one today is, can you please give an example of nonlinear lovemaking?
An example. Yeah. Good question. Good idea. Yes. Well, look, I mean, gosh, there's so many different ways it could be nonlinear. Sometimes just sitting and having a wonderfully in-depth conversation over a glass of wine with your feet entwined. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's nonlinear if that's what you both want it to be.
Yep, and it's making love.
Yeah. But generally the question is, well, how do the genitals fit in? Yeah. So there is an example from my own life that I often share at retreats and stuff. And now I'm sharing it with the world. Oh, go me.
So brave.
With my partner. And it was a Saturday morning, and I was running a 2-day women's workshop over that weekend. It wasn't a retreat, it was a workshop, so coming home for the evening. Anyway, so I woke up on that Saturday morning feeling, woohoo, I'm off to, change these women's lives, empower them. So I'm feeling pretty
pussy power.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty upbeat and positive and a little bit like, I wouldn't mind a little bit of nookie here, right? And so I said to my beloved who was lying in bed next to me, I said, I'm actually feeling quite amorous.
I've got some energy inside me I would like to share.
Yes, I did. And he was like, oh, God, babe, sorry, but I've had a hard week and it's Saturday morning and I ain't got nothing. So I was like, okay, what would I like from this situation when he's like, nothing to give or engage with? And I'm like, can I just straddle you and just soak up some of your positive penis power, right? He was fully clothed. Nothing was going on his part. And he was like, sure. So I just straddled him. I was just sitting on top of him and we were just like laughing and giggling and having a bit of a chat. But I did sort of feel like I'm soaking up. Made me feel good.
Well, yeah, this isn't it like the hip gyration for women is like how you build that sexual energy.
Part of it.
Yeah,
that's part of it. So so it felt good. So that was lovely. Anyway, so I went off for the day with a bit more charged energy. A lovely day with the women. I came back at the end in the evening, and of course, I was tired.
But I know where it's going.
He had the day off, relaxing. So now he's feeling amorous. And he's like, I'm amorous now, darling. How about you? And I'm like, oh, God, I don't know. And he said, look, how about you just lie there and I just stroke your skin lightly. Right? That's okay. Just enjoy it. And so he's doing that. Such beautiful touch. And I'm like, after a little while, I'm like, that is feeling really good. And I'm definitely feeling more amorous now. But if you keep doing that, I'm going to fall asleep. It was really tender and soft.
Yeah.
Anyway. And so I said, but if you want to roll on top, So we had very beautiful, gentle, intercourse.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. And I was just there's no way I was going to have an orgasm, right? That wasn't what it was about.
Yeah.
And but it was really loving and connecting. And after a while with that in and out and in, I found myself falling asleep. And I said, darling, I'm falling asleep. This is really beautiful, but I'm falling asleep right now. I've got enough left in me if you want to go for the last little bit. And he's like, no, it's all cool. It's all cool.
Beautiful.
I'll just go to sleep.
Literally rocked you to sleep.
So we fell asleep. And then the next morning, I woke up for day 2 of the retreat feeling really good because we'd had such a nice evening.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually lying there with his morning erection.
Wow, ready for you.
Still asleep though.
Oh.
Yes. Now, our agreement always, you do not do anything unless you ask.
Obviously.
Right?
Yes.
I'm not going to take advantage and just assume he would like me to sit on top of that beautiful morning erection.
Yes.
So I actually leaned over and I said, hey, and it's semi-opened an eye. I said, do you mind if I sit on that? And he kind of nodded. Did a little be my guest kind of a motion with his hands. So I hopped on top and was having a lovely time, and he woke up and we kept having a lovely time, and I think there were orgasms all around.
What a good way to wake up, both of you.
So I think that's a really nice example of non-linear lovemaking.
Yeah, no expectations, working with each other.
Yeah. And in the end, we did end up having, orgasms and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So in a way you could say it was just a very slow process of going through a standard thing, but not really. It's the co-creation.
Like 3 separate
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
Love that.
Which made for a beautiful weekend of lovemaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sex isn't just about your genitals, guys.
No.
Say it once, say it again. Okay, question number 2. So this one is for my penis people out there.
Ooh.
Is it okay to masturbate while I'm having regular sex with my partner?
Is it okay to?
Mm.
Absolutely it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always say it's great to have a solo sex life and a partnered sex life.
Yes.
Right? They're very different things. They meet different needs.
Mm-hmm.
Solo sex is generally just to have a nice time with yourself, probably because you want to have an orgasm, release some stress, just have a nice time. Mm-hmm. Partnered sex is about making love and creating pleasure bonding through pleasure, right? But some people do think that solo sex somehow is second rate, and if you've got a partner, you shouldn't need to have solo sex, or that their partner's not living up to their expectations if they're not putting out, right? And some entitled men think that their partner's vagina should just be there for them to masturbate in whenever they feel an urge. Most men don't think that, actually.
Thankfully.
But occasionally, I have met men who've thought that. And I just have to point out to them that if all you want to do is get off, why do you think your hand reaches exactly to your penis, right? Do it yourself quicker and easier. Don't bother your partner.
Yeah.
But it's also just a lovely thing to do. So enjoy it if you're playing with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as self-love making.
Yeah. Don't need to stop. Feels good. Keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So do both.
Do you think it comes from the men from like scared of their semen running out?
Oh, look, I think it comes from all those years of suppression where masturbation was seen as a bad thing, which you shouldn't do, right? So even the boys had a level of shame associated with it. Right. And just sort of, it's something that you do if you can't get the real thing. So once you're married or once you've got a partner, then you're doing the real thing.
Right.
Yeah, so you shouldn't need to do the other thing, or there's still shame associated with the other thing.
Wow.
Masturbation.
Please let's stop raising our children like that.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. Do it like Claude here, who doesn't have that kind
Look how hot and sexy and awesome I turned out. Yeah? You want your kids to be like this. And super humble as well.
They're upstairs, right? They're upstairs. Their bed is upstairs. And I was having a little snooze before. And then the whole room started shaking.
Did it actually?
Yeah, the whole room started shaking.
Okay, good to know.
You know what? I was just really happy. What touched my heart.
Anyway.
Right, moving on. Next question.
Is spanking demeaning? Or I thought spanking was demeaning.
Is spanking demeaning?
Mm-hmm.
Like asking, is eating an ice cream demeaning? Not if you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, that whole thing is spanking demeaning. It just buys into that whole patriarchal thing that women are supposed to be these demure little things who aren't really sexual, and you've got to be all sort of gentle with them. And that if a man is in any way doing something intense to a woman, he's dominating her in some way, and that she's being subjugated. And of course, and I want to stress absolutely, that can happen and that's horrible.
Yeah, do not be violent.
Do not be violent. Domestic violence or any kind of violence against women or against anyone, right, is a terrible, terrible thing. But two things can look very similar, but they're coming from a very, very different place.
Yeah. And hopefully you're asking the person that you're spanking if it is demeaning, because they're kind of the only ones who should be able to tell you whether it is or not.
Exactly, right? And that's why these communication skills around your sexuality are so important, because if you're just going on assumptions and expectations and you're not talking, well, you're going to play it really safe.
Yeah.
You either aren't going to say, well, actually, I wouldn't mind trying some spanking, because you'd feel too ashamed. There's that shame word again. Or shy or whatever. And if someone just did it out of nowhere, well, yeah, that's violent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if two people are talking about their desires and their fantasies and what do you like, or is there anything you like, and like, well, I don't mind a bit of spanking. I've never done. I might like it. Yeah. Right. And if the person doing it is doing it like very well, so it's actually creating pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not creating pleasure, if it actually hurts, then don't do it.
Or, it hurts in a bad way.
Yeah. Like the whole idea is you're sort of playing on that pleasure pain kind of.
Because for me personally, I like that feeling because it's just like such an intense feeling. And because I'm already feeling pleasure, it kind of just enhances the pleasure.
Yeah.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like very connects me to my body, because I'm like, fuck.
Yes. Yeah. It's that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very good feeling.
So,
yeah. And there's something else I often say on this topic,
mm-hmm.
right? If we're talking about sport, people kind of pushing themselves to the limit and having pain and whatever, everyone's like, yeah, go you. Yeah, what a fighter. Like, I used to be a martial artist. I was a martial artist for many, many years. Loved it.
A black belt.
Yeah. And I would get thwacked on the floor like 100 times in a session, maybe more, right? Bang, bang, bang. And I loved it. Bang. It'd go through your body like bang. I loved it. And everyone like, oh, go Jacqueline, like amazing black belt, blah, 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 blah. But if I kind of say that sexually I like a bit of a bang, bang, they're like, oh, deviant. Oh, no, not sure about that. That's demeaning. Like being thrown on the floor in the dojo is not demeaning, but having someone spank your bottom and you're going, oh, I like that, somehow is.
Well, I think it also might come from a place of like, because if, as we said with the History of Sex episode 2, go check it out. It's like all of a sudden sex is good again.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, I've got to be caring to my woman, or I've got to be caring to my partner. I don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see how this question comes from good intentions.
Oh, absolutely.
You shouldn't be asking us this. You should be asking the person who
you're doing it with,
who wants to be spanked.
Yeah.
Or who you want to spank.
Yes. And if you don't want to, don't. Yeah. Like lots of people wouldn't like being spanked.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
There are so many things you could do instead.
Yeah. It's not, and again, it's not the opposite of that. Some guys want to being too cautious. Oh, I don't want to hurt my partner, which is actually a healthy place to be starting from.
Yes.
And, I've had partners where I'm like, I don't mind a bit of hanky-panky, spanky-wanky. And they're like, whoa, but I'm not going to going to hit you. I'm like, well, it's not hitting, it's spanking.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
And you can also
Yep.
really build spanking up.
Oh, you build it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you make sure that you know what your partner's feeling. And men love being spanked as well. Don't think it's just men spanking women. I mean, women spank women and men spank men and women spank men and whatever. Yeah. Spanky wanky parties. No, I seriously have been to parties where there's a queue. When someone's good at oh God, when you get a good spanker.
It's spank bank.
There's a real art to it. But like anything, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And if you do like it, we'll give it a go and find out how you feel about it. But learn to do it well.
And if you're wanting some reading, someone's written a blog post about spanking, I think.
Oh, that would be me.
Yep, that would be
That's
you.
right. You've been studying my blogs. All 368 of them or whatever.
I'll link it in the show notes. It's
Good
a
idea.
nice entry point into this world of transgression. So lovers.
Yes.
Lovers of the world.
Our lovers.
Our lovers of life. Lovers of spanky wanky.
Or not.
Or not. That was episode number 7/8. Still unconfirmed. Don't know what one you're up to.
We could have stopped partway through and checked.
We could have. Didn't. I'm pretty sure it's episode 8.
Well, we're sort of on holidays.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Forget, guys, we're in Bali. Who cares what episode
Who
number
cares?
it is?
It's Bali. Everything's a little loose here. All that matters is that we gave you great content. So take it on board.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe if you haven't yet.
Mm-hmm. Keep. Think about your erotic moments. Think about your relationship tripod.
Yep.
And think about talking to your people about your pleasurable preferences. Our intro and outro was created by Paul Seals. I'll link his album in the show notes. Very awesome, talented individual. This podcast was produced by me. It was also scheduled, managed, directed, etc. Thanks, Claude.
Claude's a person. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful that you're doing this.
That I have so many skills and I'm so talented.
Yes, you are.
If you'd like to see more of us, you can find both of us on the My Mum's a Sex Therapist Instagram. As I said earlier, questions are on the weekend, but you can always DM us. We love feedback as well. So challenge, give us feedback, ask questions, just contribute.
Suggest topics.
Yes. Oh,
share personal examples as well.
Yeah, definitely.
We'd love to hear.
I would love to hear how
Love
this
that
podcast is interacting with your life. But if you would like some more of my mum.
Yes. Well, my Instagram account is jacqueline.hellier, or my website, which is full of everything. www.jacquelinehellier.com.
JACQUELINEHELLYER.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But that's it from us today, guys.
It is.
Until
now
next
we're
time.
off to get our massage.
Oh my God, I forgot. I actually forgot. I'm getting a couples massage from my beautiful boy.
Yeah.
And you're getting a solo massage.
Doing it solo at the moment.
Simply cannot wait.
All right.
But
Gotta go.
Then, hope you love your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love you, love.